Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for everyone who has jumped on this afternoon and joined us. We are recording this session, so we will send out the recording afterwards. I am Mrs. Smith, one of the counselors here. I have students' last names W through Z. Before we get started, I'm going to introduce a few of the folks that we have here on the webinar today. So first up, we have Miss Wood. Maybe just give a wave as I say your name. So Miss Wood is our college advisor here with us. Mr. Johnson is our career coach. We have Miss Rudd, one of our counselors. Miss Tucker is our counseling intern. We have Miss Christian. I think she had to step away from her desk. Miss Christian, for those of you who don't know or haven't heard, Mrs. Frith is on maternity leave, so she did have her baby. So Miss Christian is her long-term sub here helping with us while she's out on maternity leave. So for those of you who have Mrs. Frith, right now you have Miss Christian to help you out in the meantime. And then we also have Miss Diaz-Norman, one of our other counselors here as well. All right, so today we are here to kind of kick off with our large group junior meeting to kind of talk everything junior related. This kind of kicks it off to then branch into our individual ACP meetings. Ms. Wood, if you can advance that slide for me. So our individual ACP meetings, as most of you know, as we started these meetings in 9th grade, we created your ACP and then we meet every year to update and kind of take a look at things. We're taking a look at graduation progress, your final requirements as we move into senior year, planning for after high school. So reviewing what we have set, what you've already communicated the plan is, making any updates that we need to do, and then taking a look at what we already have mapped out for classes for next year to make any last minute tweaks and adjustments and whatnot. So your counselor will be getting in touch with you. If you're track A or track B, we will be more often than not pulling you from one of the days when you're in school to meet in person. If you're a track C student, then we will be emailing you to schedule your ACP meeting. So please, please, please keep an eye on those emails. We'll send it to your school email. It's very important that you see that email, that you respond to us promptly and help us to get these meetings in. It is a quick turnaround because registration is right around the corner. Registration actually opens March 8th. So that is a couple short, quick weeks away. So we might not actually get to all of our juniors to update the ACP prior to registration opening, and that's okay. Especially with the snow days and delay days mixed in at this time of year, usually things get a little delayed in the process. So just a quick heads up, if you have not met with your counselor when it's time to register for classes, go ahead and do your best. You'll have access to your old ACP from 11th grade. Obviously you have your teacher recommendations, kind of how you're doing in your current T2 classes, how you did first semester. Put all of that information together to make your best decisions. When you then meet with your counselor for your ACP meeting, even if after registration, they'll take a look at what you've registered for then in that process and kind of compare, still work through things, still make sure that we're getting all the requirements for graduation in and all that good stuff. One thing to point out as we again gear up towards registration is the program of studies. Hopefully you all know what that is, have looked at it before, but if not, then now is a good time to do it. On the CCPS website and the EVHS website, the program of studies is linked there. That is the guidebook of all of the classes that we offer here, the prereqs for it, the grades that they're open for, descriptions of the classes, leading up to your ACP meeting. The more ideas that you have, the better, so that if you come into that meeting prepared, having maybe glanced at the program of studies, then you're that much further ahead as we work through that meeting. So if you haven't looked at that, or if there's certain classes that you're considering or thinking about, we would strongly encourage you to take a look. Obviously this year as a junior, you need to continue taking the classes that you're registered in moving into senior year to continue challenging yourself and taking higher level courses. On the next couple of slides, I'm going to talk a little bit more about some of those more challenging options. But again, as we work towards the ACPs and work towards registration, we cannot stress enough, and we'll probably say a couple times throughout this presentation today, that you really need to take registration seriously. Schedule changes are hard to come by after the fact. If you had some appeal forms approved this year, know that we were much more flexible because of everything that's going on this year with virtual learning and COVID and whatnot. On normal years, there's a little bit more kind of rigidness to the schedule appeal requests. We do have to honor the process, and there's a lot of variables that go into creating the master schedule. So basically, registration in March, think of it like this, is your chance to reserve your seat in that class. If you don't reserve your seat in that class, there might not be a seat for you in August when you want to make a schedule change. So you just really, really need to put the thought and energy effort into it now to make some good decisions. Okay, so moving on, I mentioned those more challenging, rigorous courses and options as we move forward. Some of you are already in the thick of it and taking advantage of some of those options this year as a junior, but if not, it might be something that you want to look at jumping into next year as a senior. So in addition to our regular level courses, of course, we have honors level courses in a variety of content areas. There's also what's called dual enrollment and AP. So I want to explain those a little bit for anyone that might not be familiar with those terms, if that's something that you would consider next year as a senior. So both dual enrollment and AP are opportunities to earn some college credits before graduating high school. So dual enrollment is in conjunction with Germanna Community College. So you're earning community college credits. You're taking the class here with us in our building with our teachers, but earning your high school credit and your Germanna credit at the same time. Just because I say Germanna Community College does not mean that you have to go to Germanna after high school for dual enrollment to be beneficial. Dual enrollment can transfer to other schools, in-state schools, sometimes out-of-state schools. It is always up to the four-year school of their policy of what credits they accept and how many credits they award based on their policy. Pretty safe to say majority of schools in Virginia are going to accept those credits and transfer those in. Sometimes it's more of the question of what do they transfer it in as, the exact class, the elective credits, and things like that. But beneficial regardless. It shows a college that you are up to the challenge and can handle college level coursework. And then on top of that, you know, could get you some college credits, obviously, to boot. So our dual enrollment classes are on the 5.0 weighted scale. So that is going to help your GPA as long as you do well in the class. Obviously, yes, it could hurt your GPA if you don't do as well. But we're going to go optimistic and assume that you're going to do well, so that then that would benefit you to have that on the weighted scale. Typically there's a test that you'd have to take to be eligible for dual enrollment in some situations. This year, because of the pandemic, there is no VPT, Virginia Placement Test, being administered. So we actually can go by your GPA instead. So with a 3.0 GPA, you could be eligible for dual enrollment, but that is something going into your ACP meeting with your counselor that you would talk about more and let them know that that dual enrollment is something that you're interested in, and then they could look a little closer. So you parents and students are paying out of pocket to get the dual enrollment credits. However, CCPS pays 80% of the tuition cost. So for you to only have to pay 20% is a pretty good deal. The majority of our classes are made up of 2 Germanna classes to equate to our 1 credit. And typically Germanna classes are 3 credits each. That's pretty typical for college level classes, if it's not a science with a lab or other things like that. So for most of our dual enrollments, you're getting 6 total credits to take that 1 class on our end. So some of the options that we have available that you could look at for 12th grade, right now, it's mostly your English 12 or Spanish. Those are through Germanna. There's also a culinary arts dual enrollment through J. Sargent Reynolds. There is a Teacher for Tomorrow dual enrollment opportunity with Shenandoah, which is new this year. Those both come at no cost to students and parents. So again, worthwhile to look into your options. There is also at times an American Civil War. All of these are dependent on how many students sign up. So if we have enough students to run the class, and also good to know that it's always also dependent on our staffing because there are certain criteria required for those teachers to teach a dual enrollment class. So that is certainly something that you want to talk to your counselor about if that is something that you're interested in. There's a couple steps to take. There is an application for Germanna on their website that you would have to do to then be eligible for dual enrollment. That kind of kicks off the process. Mr. Johnson, our career coach, is a really good help when it comes to the Germanna application if needed. But it's not a very time-consuming or overwhelming process that we can help walk you through. All right, so our next topic to talk about is AP. So that is another opportunity to earn some college credits before graduating high school. So AP stands for Advanced Placement. And for AP, you take the course, you pay to take the exam, which is usually around $90 or so. And you, depending on how you score on that exam, would help determine how many credits you could potentially earn at the collegiate level. Again, always up to the college and their policy of what AP scores they accept and how many credits they would award based on the scores. The AP exam is out of 5. I think it's pretty safe to say that majority of schools are going to accept 4s and 5s. You have kind of a mixed bag of how many certain schools that would accept 3s. Majority of schools, pretty safe to say, are not going to accept a 1 or a 2. There are sometimes summer assignments for AP classes and maybe sometimes dual enrollment. So that is something that's usually advertised towards the end of the school year in announcements and whatnot, if there's certain summer assignments that need to get picked up. So that's just something that you need to think about ahead of time and be on the lookout for. And then just again, I'm going to stress and continue to stress of just how important registration is, especially when you're making these decisions of dual enrollment versus AP or the combination of however many of those. You need to make sure you're keeping your workload balance in mind, the summer assignments in mind. Just not doing a summer assignment does not warrant a schedule change in August or September. So you need to make sure that you commit to what you sign up for in March and see that through. So both dual enrollment and AP obviously look good as far as schools go. They want to see you challenging yourself. They want to see that you can handle college level work. And then again, it gives you an opportunity to earn some college credits to then potentially save you some time and money and effort in the long run. All right, another opportunity to think about going into senior year is our nursing program. So we do have a nursing program also in conjunction with Germanna. So these are dual enrolled classes. That is something that you would want to communicate to your counselor during your ACP meeting if that is something you would be interested in. For your senior year, upon completion of the program, you would actually be able to sit for your CNA exam, for your Certified Nursing Assistant exam. It is primarily second semester of senior year. You would need to dual enroll for English with us all year. There are a couple classes that you would need to do ahead of time, separate from EV, but with Germanna to be ready and to continue in the program. And then the real meat of the program are the nursing classes that you would take second semester of senior year. You're double booked. So first and second blocks, your whole morning for all of second semester would be your nursing classes. They do clinicals where they go out on the site and have hands-on face-to-face interactions and experience. Right now, our nursing program for CC and EV students is housed at Eastern View. With the new career and tech building being built, the nursing program will be housed there. So hopefully, if everything goes to plan, next year the nursing program would be housed at the new tech building. So the prereqs, there is a prereq of a 2.0 for the program in general, but with no VPT administrations this year, you actually really more so need the 3.0 GPA to qualify in lieu of the VPT. But again, your counselor can go over more of the specifics with the prereqs and whatnot if that is something you're specifically interested in. All right, and now I'm going to hand it over to Ms. Rudd.
Hello, I hope everybody can hear me okay. So SATs, some of you may have already started taking SATs, others of you have not. There is still time to sign up for SATs this year. You would just need to go to, as you can see on the screen, www.collegeboard.org. So there is a test March 13th that is not here in Culpeper. However, you can still register for it by the 12th with a late fee. And that is nearby. I'm not sure exactly where that is, though. It will show you when you sign up. May 8th and June 5th are also SAT dates, and they're here in Culpeper. So the dates there to register by are there. If you need any help signing up for those, Miss Woods would be happy to help you. You can always reach out to one of your counselors as well. So most juniors will test at least during their spring of their junior year and then retest in the fall of their senior year. When you do sign up for College Board, or when you do sign up to take the test, you are able to put down the colleges that you're interested in applying to and have them sent directly from the College Board. So please make sure that you do that as well. Ms. Smith, if you can always see Ms. Smith for a fee waiver to see if you qualify. You can reach out if you need help getting a hold of her as well. And then there are some different places that you can study for the SAT. On collegeboard.org, the website, they do have some resources along with Navient Student, and then also through the EVHS library database to make sure that you're prepared to take it. The ACT, that is the other test that you could take. Now, most colleges, not all, but most colleges on the East Coast do take the SAT, whereas the West Coast may look more so at the ACT because that does have a different section. That does have a science section with the ACT. And so you are able to sign up for and take the ACT with the website, www.actstudent.org. The next dates are here listed along with when you would need to register for those by, and those are also sometimes offered in the surrounding counties, but they are not offered here in Culpeper. And then the ASVAB. So for those of you that don't know what the ASVAB is, it is a test that if you're looking at going into the military, you will be taking the ASVAB test for that, but it's also a test you can take if you're considering to help you kind of look at career options too, to see where your strengths are. It is going to be offered here one more time this year on April 28th. They do often offer in the fall too. So if you haven't taken it and you're not going to take it there should be a testing date in the fall here at Eastern View. So April 28th, it will be at Culpeper County High School. So if you need transportation, you can reach out to our testing coordinator to help arrange that. So you can sign up on the testing page by April 14th if you want to take that. So again, it is helpful in considering career options. It's necessary if you're going to be enlisting. And you can also take the ASVAB with your recruiter, not necessarily here through the school, but there with the recruiter. And then I'm going to hand that over to Ms. Diaz-Norman.
Hi guys. So in the spring of 11th grade, you guys want to take the SAT. As Ms. Budd went over, you can sign up for the SAT on collegeboard.org. The ACT, as Ms. Budd also mentioned, has a science section. That's really the main difference between the SAT and the ACT. Colleges look at them both equally the same in terms of admission. You can really, if you decide, you can take both, and then just see whichever one you score higher on comparatively. So that's always an option. And then you can choose to send your highest score to colleges. So they don't have to see, colleges don't have to see each time that you take it. You can just choose to take the SAT or the ACT more than once, and then send your highest score. So you want to continue research at this time of year on colleges, majors. You can do a lot of this research on Navient. So if you're applying to colleges, if you're considering applying to colleges in the fall of your senior year on Common App, you're going to want to match your Common App account with Navient. But at this time, really what you want to focus on is going on to Navient and doing that research. So you can look at different colleges based on location, based on the majors that they offer. You can put in a lot of different criteria. And so start to create a list of schools that you're thinking about. You can click on the little heart next to the name of the college that you're thinking about once you go on there, and it'll start to create a list for you of colleges that you're thinking about. And I know this year is difficult with visiting college campuses due to COVID, but a lot of colleges offer virtual tours on Naviance. That's also an option as well. You can look at the virtual tour. They have a lot of pictures too. And it's also super important at this point in your high school career to keep your grades up. So this is actually the last semester to kind of solidify that GPA before you start completing your applications in the fall of senior year. So remember, you're going to actually start submitting applications your senior year. So colleges are going to see your grades up until senior year. That's really, really important to keep your grades up. Okay, so senior year college applications are completed in the fall. So you want to start to get together the colleges that you're thinking about now, and then you want to add them to the colleges that you're applying to on Naviance in the fall of your senior year. And again, like I said, match your Common App account if you are applying on Common App to Naviance so that your counselor can then be able to start the process to send your transcripts. You also meet with your counselor in the beginning of senior year as well to go over this whole process. You do want to fill out the senior recommendation questionnaire on Naviance. That's something that's important. It gives your recommenders some information about you that they can include in their letter. For letters of recommendation, not all colleges will require, but a lot of four-year colleges do. You typically they require about 2 letters of recommendation, so 2 academic teachers. You can ask someone outside of school, like maybe a coach or someone that you work with, but it could, they really want to see that academic side as well. So keep that in mind, and just keep in mind that every college has their own requirements. So, I would recommend 2 is like the average for a 4-year college, but each college has their own requirements. Taking another SAT, so that's something I mentioned, you can take the SAT again in the fall of your senior year, but like I said before, it's not something that you have to send every single score. So I would recommend taking it more than once, because then you can send your highest score to colleges. And then also if you take it more than once, you can send both scores. If, let's say, on one test you do better on the math section, on another test you do better on the English, for example, and then if you send both scores, colleges will even super score it for you. So that's why it's beneficial to take it more than once. So if you're not happy with your score from 11th grade, you can take it again in the fall of your senior year. Just be mindful of deadlines for colleges. So taking the VPT, that's the Virginia Placement Test, and that's something that is typically required for community college, but that's something, like we said, is not taking place this year. It may take place, though, in the fall of senior year or in the spring. So it just kind of depends on what happens with COVID. So just keep in mind, you'll want to talk to your counselor and Mr. Johnson. Mr. Johnson is our career coach who helps out a lot with 2-year college applications. So at that time, reach out to him. You also want to make sure you're taking upper level courses, that you're signing up for them during registration, keeping in mind, your workload and your history with the classes that you've taken. Colleges like to see that you're challenging yourself, but you also want to make sure that you are taking a well-rounded workload. As Ms. Smith had said previously, you want to know your strengths and your weaknesses. So in addition to that, you want to sign up for the to submit the FAFSA, which is the Federal Application for Student Aid. That's something that Ms. Wood also does a lot of like webinars on and different kind of helpful information about the FAFSA. She's kind of presented about that. So you can reach out to her about some of that information. She's our college advisor, and that's due by October 1st of your senior year. Okay, so that kind of helps colleges to understand a little bit more about the finances for your family. And then for scholarships, so those are all listed on Naviance. There are so many scholarships out there, guys. I really recommend that you apply for scholarships. Scholarships for many different reasons. And they're not based on how much your family makes. It's really often based on maybe an essay that you have to complete or your grades. So colleges really like to reward you. And then pay attention to the college application deadlines. You definitely want to make sure that you're submitting on time, whether it's on Common App or directly to the school's website. It's really important that your application is in on time and that you're communicating with your counselor about the colleges that you're applying to, so we can send all of your application materials in.
Ms. Diaz-Norman, I did want to say that the FAFSA opens on October 1st, so it's not necessarily
Oh, okay,
due on
okay.
October 1st. Yeah, not to scare anybody. You're not
My
behind.
Shows how much I know about FAFSA. Reach out to Ms. Wood.
Hey guys, I'm Miss Tucker again, for those of you who don't know me. So I'm just gonna quickly go over some of the differences between a 2-year and a 4-year college. This is something you wanna be starting to think about which one is gonna be your best option if you are thinking about going to college. So 2-year community college, you're gonna get an associate's degree. In the process of being there and getting, like, working through classes there, you have the opportunity to transfer to a 4-year college and finish out there, so that you would end up with a bachelor's degree after that. And Mr. Johnson is the person, again, who you're going to want to talk to about applying to 2-year colleges. He has a ton of information about that and the pros and cons of going that route. And then for a 4-year college or university, you're going to earn a bachelor's degree. There are 15 public colleges in Virginia. So these are usually larger schools that are less expensive than private universities or colleges. And there are 32 of those in Virginia. So we have a ton of colleges in Virginia. A lot of them are really awesome. So we've got good options that are close by. The private colleges are more expensive, but there are a lot of scholarship opportunities. So if you are a high achieving student and you're getting good grades, you're gonna have options to get some money to go there. And Miss Wood is the person to talk to if you're thinking that's the route you wanna go. So when you're thinking about cost, I know this is something that can be really stressful when you're thinking about going to college. When you are looking at the difference between public and private, if you are deciding to go 4 years, the main difference is going to be in the tuition and fees. So a public 4-year school is about $10,000 per year, usually in Virginia. Everything else is pretty similar in terms of like room and board, books and supplies, and personal expenses. And then the total for a public 4-year university is around $22,000. And then so the tuition and fees for private schools in Virginia can vary pretty greatly. And a lot of times that can end up being between $32,000 and $52,000. So it can get up there, but again, there's scholarships and options for that. And going along with that, like I said, this can be like a stressful and overwhelming part of the college search process, but there are a ton of opportunities to get grants, scholarships, and loans. So grants and scholarships are typically things that you're gonna get gifted money, and loans are something that you'll end up paying back over time. So 84% of undergraduate students receive financial aid. So it's a very common thing to do. It starts with filling out the FAFSA. And again, Ms. Wood and the college advisor next year will be someone who can really help you kind of set yourself up for success with that and make sure that your family is getting everything you need to go to the college that you want. And I think
Sorry, took me a second to get out of mute. I'm Miss Wood. I'm the college advisor. Like Miss Tucker said, though, I won't be here next year. It's a 2-year program, but there will be another amazing college advisor. We will make sure of it for you all. So a little bit about college night. We're gonna have college night on March 24th at 5:30. It's also gonna be a virtual webinar style. So definitely come and, you know, we kind of did a brief overview on 4-year, 2-year colleges now, but this is going to be really diving into scholarships, financial aid, all of that good stuff. So definitely plan on attending and mark your calendars. Okay, so online resources. So this is a lot of information that you got today. How can you kind of put it to good use and do your research? We have the EVHS counseling website. We worked really hard on that. We've also worked hard on a new and improved Future Center website. And then, like, you know, all of the counselors have been saying, Naviance Student is a great resource for you all to, you know, check out the colleges I'm thinking about. A lot of the colleges have information based on, your own personal information, like your GPA, demographics. So Naviance is a great resource, and then stay connected. So I'm going to leave it on this page for a little while, but definitely follow us. We have Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all that jazz. Sign up for my Remind. The best way to stay connected, especially during times like this, is through social media. Maybe that's not your forte. Sorry, that's a little unfortunate, but email us if you have any questions. We try to keep information just on blast out to you all. And I do want to show everybody one thing before we go into questions. Let me see. Sorry. This is, if you don't know how to find the counseling webpage, you're going to go to the Eastern View homepage. You're going to go to departments. This is new. This is what I'm showing you. You're going to go to student services here. And then this is going to be the Eastern View department website. Okay. So you can make an appointment with your counselor on this website. And then you can also navigate the Future Center website here, which has a lot of college search information, career search information, SAT and ACT. Mr. Johnson and I work really hard to try to keep this updated at all times. So definitely check this out. And with that, are there any questions?
And just to piggyback, thank you, Ms. Wood, for pulling that up and showing on that main page. As Ms. Wood scrolled down, there's See a Counselor, and that's where the link is if you want to request to see your counselor. That you'll fill out this Google form, and we will get an email directly to us that you need to see us, so that then we know to either see you in person if you're track A or B, or reach out via email or whatnot if you're virtual. So you can email your counselor or fill out a request to see. And in the request, you can request to see Ms. Wood, you can request to see Mr. Johnson as well, so you can kind of get to who you need to get to. So I think we can open it up now for questions. If there's any questions, go ahead and type it into the chat. I know some, it sounded like maybe have an NHS meeting that they need to go to. Certainly head on out. Thank you for coming. If you don't have any questions or need to run to another meeting, but if anyone has any questions, we'll hang around for a couple minutes so that we can answer anything that pops up. And if not, otherwise, we will see you in your ACP meeting. Again, I cannot stress enough, virtual students, please, 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 please check your emails, answer your emails. Don't make it harder than it needs to be for us to schedule the meeting. Thank you.
So we'll stay on for just a few more minutes if you have any questions, but I see some of you are leaving, so bye.
Quiet group. No one has any questions. Usually we have a couple questions.
It's a slow dwindle, so maybe taking a
We covered all the info. Later, Gata.
Anybody who's left, any questions? If not, we are probably just going to call it. So, okay. All right. Well, there we go. Good job, everybody.
Thanks, Erica.